I will call to order the Wednesday, the July 25th meeting of the Building Facilities Construction Committee. I believe it's 7 o'clock. The first item on the agenda is reorganization.
Oh, no, it's
Oh.
not that again?
Oh, again?
Oh, maybe that's a carryover?
like
Did we
we're-
do that last meeting?
No, we didn't have a meeting.
We didn't have a meeting, that's right.
I feel like we're doing that every 5 minutes.
Who's throwing their hat in the
Feels
ring?
like, it feels like we're doing
John
it
had
every
asked
five
me if I'd be
minutes.
I
chair.
wanted to say just the way it is.
Right, John?
Absolutely.
Does Sean have us?
John, who?
What's that? What, reorganization?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the first item. See under one?
Not in my,
Here you go, Sean.
Oh, yeah.
No, no problem. It's
sorry.
in English, let me translate. That's reorganization.
That's why she can't find,
see
that's
it.
why she can't find those calves.
I see it.
It's been cloudy out, so it could be in the sun.
Thank you, thank you.
No problem. No problem.
Okay,
I'm here for you.
thank you.
I nominate Sean for the chair and Shirley for the second
Vice chair.
position, Vice chair, whatever you want to call her, vice chair.
Matter has been moved. Anyone second?
Second?
Matter has been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Nope.
Are you willing to be chair?
Of course.
Okay.
I'm always happy to be chair.
Very good, thank you.
All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
I'm just helping you through that. Aye.
Opposed? None? I believe the matter carries unanimously. So we then move on to item number 2, if that's all right. The municipal building and primary school roof capital project.
We see the light at the end of the tunnel.
An oncoming train.
Yes,
We,
amen.
as you know, we closed out the window project. We did pay the final invoice on that. We long since closed out the HVAC, the boiler project. And lastly, the lingering one is the roof projects. As you may recall, we had some questions about some of the construction techniques, and we had the manufacturer's warranty out a couple of days ago. Mike came out, and Jeff Collette, and we walked each of the roofs, as well as George, of course. And we went through and identified a few outstanding issues. Greenwood was out today, and they did work on both buildings with the goal of doing those final things that needed to get done. I let George know, and George is gonna try to come out early next week to do a final inspection. And if everything looks to be in order, that should be it, and that project should wrap up, and that should wrap up this contract, actually.
Just to add what Bill said, and I've been a stickler on this. There's two different types of warranty. There's a material warranty and there's a total systems warranty. We're getting the total systems warranty, which means that Versico, the manufacturer, would come out and do any repairs that are required under the warranty, which is important to us. So then the aggregate issues and stuff that we talked about is kind of mute. It doesn't matter.
Please.
How long is the warranty for? This
20
one?
20 years?
20 years.
How many years?
20.
20?
That's not on your page, so.
And of course, there's requirements that we maintain things, because we
Yes.
did, and that's regular routine maintenance that should be occurring.
There's nothing that we've done so far that's even remotely inappropriate or suspect, correct?
No, but like, when we went up there, some of the roof drains needed to be cleared out, and, we were looking at some of the branches growing fairly close to the roof system, so we're gonna, bring that up with Adam and let him know about it.
Okay.
Any other issues to be raised on that matter? If there aren't, we can move on to item number 3, the municipal fire alarm.
We, as you may recall, we did go out to bid for designer services once already on that. We had a designer fee. We're kind of, as we've done on a few of these older projects, backed into fees. We started off with we're given a dollar amount, 100,000 on this project, and 10% was reserved for the designer fee. As you may recall, we put it out to bid, we only got one submittal for the 10,000, and they were even saying that, well, you know, you might want to do this in 2 phases. So I spoke with Matt about it. Matt suggested we go back out to bid, increasing the designer fee to 20,000. So we will do that, hopefully fetch some more competitive bids. And then they may have recommendations on implementation or construction, and maybe the fee or the estimate for the services changes. I'm not sure. It's too early to say, but that's the direction we're headed on that. Now, along those lines, I did include this document in your packet, which is issued by the IG's office, and you'll see on page 5, there is a designer selection bid protest decision. And historically, you might recall in certainly our local designer selection procedures say that we solicit bids with 2 envelopes, one for qualifications and one for fee. You make the decision based on the qualifications. Apparently, this court decision is now saying that that's not proper. You just solicit 1 envelope, qualifications, then you negotiate the fee after the fact. That's
We choose them and then we have a discussion about how much we want to pay them?
correct.
How does that work?
So in the event that I choose Ginger, and because she writes down she's well qualified, but she's like 10 times the cost, then what?
It's a qualifications-based selection process. So there's thresholds. If your construction project is, I want to say $300,000 or more, or the designer fee would be $30,000 or more, and that's off the top of my head, so they
Yep.
may be wrong. You have to go through this designer selection procedure process, okay? And designer selection is a qualifications-based process. It's not a fee-based process. So you want the best designer for the project. So you go through that process. Of course, if you don't have the fee to cover the appropriation to cover their fee, then you either negotiate the fee down. I mean, you can negotiate the fee, or you go back out to bid.
Okay.
I mean, that's,
Okay, yeah.
that-
No, that's what
Well,
I was
that's the
asking, to
question.
make sure
I
that
mean,
there
if
was.
we can't
there's
agree
some-
on a price.
There was,
Right.
there was some checkpoint in there to make sure that we're not locked in.
yeah, it's not, you're not locked in.
Yeah.
No,
Wouldn't
it's
that
not.
take twice as long, though? As far as
Sure.
getting a project
It
done?
would.
Yeah.
It could
It
be
would.
3 times longer.
What was the thinking that made them arrive at
That's
this?
why I gave you
It's here.
the summary, yeah.
Oh, joy.
First you take the guns, then you lose your bidding process. No.
I'm very reading this very quickly, and it's always dangerous to speak when one has only just briefly read something, but on page 6, second paragraph. Awarding authorities must not solicit fee proposals from designers at the same time they solicit qualifications from the designers, even if the fee proposal is in a separate envelope. They can only solicit a fee from the selected finalist after they choose the finalist. As an alternative to negotiating a fee, the awarding authority may set a fee in advance.
That's true.
Is that fee in advance prior to the
Yes.
request for qualification?
Yes. Usually in the advertisement, you post the fee that you expect the project to be. So they have, like with this fire alarm system, we posted $10,000. Now, we backed into that number, but that's what we posted.
Right.
And that's the bid we got, was $10,000. Now, I'm sure if we go out again and we have $20,000, it might be under 20, but chances are it'll probably be in that ballpark. You know, I think the designers approach these things with the presumption that you have an idea of what the full scope is, and, you know, mechanically, even though it's not supposed to happen this way, they always end up, the fee is generally within a percentage range of what the construction of the project is. So if you're doing your proper procedure, you should have a good idea what the fee would be.
So chances are you wouldn't bid if you had all that information and you knew you were gonna be way
You
over.
that's why we only got one bid on that last project, because that fee was probably low.
Where are we getting the extra money? We started out with 10, now you're talking 20, where's that coming from?
We have 100,000 appropriated
Just for
for the,
designer?
for the project.
For the project.
The whole
as a
project.
total.
Right.
Is that enough?
No, I don't think so.
That's
I
what
don't, I
thought.
won't know until the design's done, but.
Yeah.
The $10,000 hopeful suggestion at the beginning was just based on percentage? Is that how that came about?
We backed in based on the methodology I mentioned, so you have a project with a fee amount. We used a number that was gone to capital, went through the process, and then we get it after it goes through the process. And so we have to say, well, what's the designer fee on a $100,000 project? It's
Yep.
gonna be 10%. so.
And does that fall in the same chart that we used before?
Yes, that's what
Okay.
we
Yep,
used,
okay.
yeah.
And it's not your number, the 20,000. Is there any reason that was related to you as to why 20,000 is a better number than the 10? If it wasn't, then I don't expect you, if there was no other information.
Well, I spoke with Matt about it, and we looked at the scope of the project. We did talk to some of the people that were bidding, that were looking at the project, and kind of got a general idea of what the fee should be. So that's kind of how we got there.
Please.
One final question, then I'll ask no more about this thing.
I'll hold you to
A
this.
while back, at the very beginning, Adam had gotten a guesstimated or estimated cost of 28,000, now we're at 100,000. I'm just curious as to how it quadrupled.
The original number that was provided was from our service contractor, and all they were doing were replacing the heads on each of these
Oh,
fixtures. Okay, so the scope changed is what happened. And, you know, then as things were looked at, we need a new panel, they want a redundant panel at the police station, you know, so
Yep.
it kind of, and I guess in the gym, Adam gets a lot of false alarm readings, and you can't track down which head's doing the, reading, so
Right.
it's a system change is what it is.
Plus, that was quite a number of years ago.
Yeah.
I think it even started when Ricky was.
Right,
and then
that's right.
Anna Took over.
That's probably going back to the RISV report,
Yeah,
which was like
yeah.
2000.
Yeah. It was.
that 28,000 bid was that long ago?
No. That,
Okay. No, I know that.
it was
just-
identified in the RISV report as something that
Right.
needs to be thought about.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize the scope of work changed. 5 years ago, jobs that I would allotted a certain amount of money.
So-
It's about doubled. It hasn't
Ju-
quadrupled, but it's doubled.
Just to give you the full history, so that's how the first number came to. We talked to
Yeah.
our service contractor, they gave us a number, that's what was carried forward. We then had George and GRLA involved. We asked them to give us an idea of what we should budget. That's how we got up to the 100. Okay? And so now we're looking at it, probably gonna be a little higher.
There are no other issues to be raised on item number 3. We can move on to item number 4, the municipal gymnasium windows.
That's a very minor update. Adam did have the windows tested. They did show for asbestos, so there will be some level of remediation on the replacement. That's really the extent of that.
Then item number 5, the green energy.
I think I gave you a copy of the quarterly report that we filed with DOER. So that's for your information. We are moving forward with the LED project. In fact, I finalized the purchase order for the audit and design of the streetlight retrofitting. So I'll probably be sending that out tomorrow. And again, this retrofitting project's got to get done by the end of this calendar year. So we're going to be moving light years ahead. Haha.
Unintended.
And so basically, we're moving forward with that. We've also identified a couple of other projects that we're looking at for the Green Communities funding to be utilized for. Basically, work down at the library building, redoing the boiler, which is terribly inefficient. Looking at the LED lights at the highway barn, replacing, retrofitting.
I have a question about the lights. I noticed up where I live up at Perry Street and Linden, and they're replacing all the telephone poles, even though I think there's like one street light on Perry. They're putting, the new poles are like 10 feet higher, taller than the existing poles. And we're going to be only owning the lights and not the poles?
Correct. We will have a license on the pole, which is owned by the utility, whether it might be National Grid in some cases, more often than not, maybe Verizon in other cases.
So if by some reason one of our lighted, because we own lights now, and one of those poles needs to be replaced, they would take off our light for us and put it
Likely,
back on?
the way, and I can't give you a direct answer on that, but the way my experience has been, the licensee, whether it be some other utilities, the cable company, the Verizon, so if National Grid owns a pole, they'd issue a license to Verizon and the cable company and whoever else is using that pole. So in our case, it would be the light. So if a pole were to be moved, they would contact us and we would be responsible to move our part of that
Okay.
structure or system.
That's what I was wondering about too, and because now these new poles are 10 feet taller than the old poles. I'm like,
Literally 10 feet taller.
At least. This is the third time they've replaced poles since I've lived there, since '78. And each time, the poles get taller and taller. And what does that do to the lighting?
Well,
If it's
I would-
10 feet up higher?
I would say it's a case by case. I would think the light fixture is actually still mounted at the same location it would be on the prior
Oh,
pole.
okay. So the height
It almost
would be-
seems like it's preparation for a
Future.
possible high-tension lines, because that's what goes on the very top, 13.8 on the top. So they're just bringing that up higher to get the transmission through.
I would be inclined to think that the poles you're talking about are probably outdated.
They are,
You know,
yes.
and
At least 20
these
years.
new ones are probably what they do everywhere, but it just
Yeah.
looks 10 feet taller because
Yeah.
the other ones are so outdated.
Okay, I'm just wondering, will it affect our light? Will the light be put back at the same height, or,
I
'cause
think
the higher you go up?
that's why we're having the audit
Accurate.
and design done.
Okay.
They actually go out to each location of every light in town. They determine what type of wattage it is, what type
Mm-hmm.
of bulb it is, and then they put in a comparable LED light.
Yeah.
Okay, so the goal is to provide at least what's there or better.
Okay.
Thank you.
In the report, the last paragraph of this particular document.
Yep.
It reads, the town's existing streetlights are inefficient. Upgrading the LED technology will reduce electric usage by a certain amount. And then it says, the cost savings expected as a result of this project total $22,755. Is that over a period of time? Is that
I would think that's per year.
per year.
Yeah, because it was 45,000 or something like that.
Correct, correct.
Is there some way we can know that is?
Yeah, I'm
per
pretty
year?
sure it's per year, but
Yeah.
I'll check it for next meeting.
When we first started talking about it, it was like 45,000
It was,
a
yeah.
year for the lighting
Right.
costs,
Let's
so it's gonna be reduced by
ask the
22,000.
question.
I'll send an email out on that if it's.
That was just prior to the lightning bug discussion. The white lights affecting the lightning bug, you don't remember that?
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
You don't remember that at the beginning when we first started talking about streetlights?
Of course, I'm very worried about the plugs.
Does it make him crazy?
I don't know what it does though.
Well, why did
No,
he
it
do
was
that?
brought up.
By
I
whom?
don't remember, like, I don't recall. I can't remember everything.
I don't know why not.
Yes, none of us believe that. Mr. Patrick. None one of us. I'm sorry, I shouldn't speak. I
No,
apologize.
you're
Yeah,
right.
that's an assumption, Joe, Counselor.
It is, and I thrive on them.
I took that word away from Bill. Counselor.
If that addresses that topic,
That's great.
we can go on to the North Street Spillway.
North Street Spillway, as you may recall, we had an issue with a culvert collapsing on one end. So the highway superintendent wanted to fill in the structure because there's been historic problems at that location with the structure. So we were moving forward with that. And I'm going to give you a little history because I know there's been a lot of discussion offline about what's going on out there. So this is not the bridge, it's adjacent to the bridge. So we did a design to, a set of bid documents, basically fill in the culvert, that, the spillway that was collapsing. Backfill it, collapse it, backfill it, bring it up to grade. At that point in time, the water superintendent said, hey, since North Street's gonna be closed, you know, we're gonna replace that section of water line if the prices make sense, so. But that required town meeting vote, so we had to kind of wait a little period of time. Town meeting came, we voted on it, then once it was voted, we had to finalize bid documents now that it passed. So that's why it took the period of time it did. And then, of course, you have the 30-day bid period, you know, so that takes time too. So we got the bids in. We had a very aggressive schedule. We got 2 bids. Kennefic, who did the bridge work on South Street and Hemlock Street, as well as Sumo Eco. Sumo Eco is the low bidder, was the low bidder. Both bids were right where the estimate was, so they were very close and competitive. And Sumo Eco had a slight edge with the water line. We bid it in 2 phases, one for the highway work, one for the water line work. Kennefic's price was a little higher on the water line work, so we ended up going with Sumo Eco. And we had a very aggressive schedule for them to do the construction. July 11th is when we had for a time period for completion. They finished before that, a few days before that, so it opened on time. We just got the pay rec in, so we're going through that now. So by the next meeting, I'll have the review of that, where we end up dollar-wise. But it was a good, successful project as far as I'm concerned. I think
Great.
we got a good product.
I'm gonna embarrass myself. What's a spillway?
Spillway is an overflow for a water body. So historically, there was a dam at that location, and the axe mill, Linda had photos and had, not that she took herself, mind you.
I'm really glad to hear that.
I was getting concerned. I didn't know
So
where to
it would
leave
divert, it would
Sure,
divert the water
Can we
from the
pause that
Mumford
thing?
River into the axe mill, which is where the treatment plant is. So it basically, it diverts the water.
Thank you. So if there are no other issues to be raised on that topic, we can do the meeting minutes, or should we hold off on doing the meeting minutes? I haven't had a chance to read them, I don't know if anybody else has.
They were from
They're from April.
last time.
April.
We didn't have a quorum too.
You need a
so
copy of it, I gotta.
You got 6 of them?
One whole page.
And another agenda.
It's like trading cards.
Oh,
You got Louis Tia.
no, I got a June 21st one too.
I've got a March 21st.
What year?
17th, June 21st to 17th.
Really?
Bet you there's something
You
there.
haven't been taking your stuff home.
I have to.
Just leaving it in the truck, though.
Piled up on
Right
the
on.
dash, right?
I only have this.
Oh,
Yeah,
Mike
but-
has extra.
That's all we need is,
Yeah,
What do you
just
need?
the one,
How many
April.
you need? April? Here's another one.
Oh, I got it.
ASA 8 is in my 2017 minutes.
ASA,
Are you reading the 17?
Yeah, I want to make sure it's accurate. You could have changed it while I was out of my folder.
I make a motion to approve the April 18th, 2018 minutes as
Second.
written.
Matter having been moved and seconded, any conversation? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
I abstained because I was absent.
So 4 ayes, 1 abstention.
Per year.
Say-
I gotta remember to look that up, per year.
Yeah.
Reference to the fire alarm, $101,500. With that, there is 21% for architectural and engineering.
There you go.
For now.
So that's 20.
No, that was 2017.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Could have changed.
Anybody willing to move to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Matter having been moved and
I'd be
seconded,
Julian.
all in favor? Aye.
So moved.
Opposed? Nay? We are adjourned at
Breath at the wrong time.
7:27 PM.